Welcome back to the weekly walkthrough, where we bring the above, below, and talk about the transits you should know. And honestly, eclipse season is eclipsing. I don't really need to recap what I mean when I say that, I think. All you really have to do is look online. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of upheaval, personally and collectively. So let's just, in honor of the South Node, in honor of K2, let's just take a breath. Okay, so busy week with transits. Our theme of the week is, unsurprisingly, the Ten of Coins. I say unsurprisingly because this is associated with the last decan of Virgo, where the sun is moving now. And these final 10 degrees are closing out the season before the equinox. Now, with that, it's about really looking at the legacy. It's about looking at what we've been building, what we've worked on, what we have created that we're going to be able to harvest or not. Like really thinking about legacy, thinking about the future and what it means to create something sustainable, something structural, something that provides for many in that marketplace kind of way of equal exchange. And on Monday, we start that off with Venus and Mars in dialogue from Leo to Libra, and Mercury and Venus both chatting with Juno over in Scorpio, Venus a little bit more argumentatively. And this is really about who are you working with? With the Three of Coins, this is that dream of collaboration. And this version in particular, we have the Jinn up here and we got our little lamp. So this feels more like spiritual collaboration. Like who are you working with that is beyond the scope of just human collaborations? Like this could be other spiritual practitioners, but I'm actually thinking about like, what guides are you working with right now? What are you praying for right now? What are you petitioning for? What are you dreaming of? And who is here to help make that a reality? And then we move to Tuesday, which gets a little bit busier. Our Cancer moon is still very much active Monday through Tuesday, and she's talking to everybody. We have a node contact, which is always going to bring in more of the eclipse season stuff. Venus trines Chiron. The moon checks in with Jupiter, who she's hosting, then talks to the sun, gets in an argument with Chiron, gets in an argument with Mars, which is crunchier. That happens just before 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So afternoon, just be careful. Eat your lunch, have a snack. Don't get into an argument because you have low blood sugar kind of vibes. And then there's a really constructive dialogue with Mercury after that. So that might be, like, oh, I really should have paid attention to these things. Then we have the moon trining Saturn before moving into Leo just before midnight, a little after 11. And with that, we're looking at Death Motel, which is kind of like the monotony of death. It's like we're not actually staying here. These are the little transformations, and this one is reversed. So it's about what are you doing in the short term to shake things up? Like as we're moving through this liminal eclipse space, what are you doing that can make things better? What are you doing that can really help to improve the situation? And when I say the situation, I mean yours. Like really in that Cancer area of your chart, particularly in the Virgo area, in like the spheres that are activated right now by the lunar and the solar. So we're talking Leo, Cancer, Virgo, and Pisces. Really sit with that. Like what's going on there that needs your attention? What are you passing through right now? Then on Wednesday, the Leo moon talks to the outers, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, with that opposition to Pluto that has become a new standard for any planet going through Leo. And then the big news is just before noon, we have Virgo Mercury opposing Saturn as we're moving into our waning crescent. And this is kind of rough, and I'm actually anticipating headline which I don't like. But Mercury is ruling the South Node, which is what's stirring everything up right now and churning things. We have the Knight of Swords, who is a particularly warlike one in this version, and the Dove reversed. So, you know, be really careful what you say. Like, I don't want to promote fear or anything, but truly use your words intentionally, mindfully right now, because they may travel further than you think they will. They may have more of an impact than you think they will. And particularly if you are part of any groups right now that are concerned about what's happening, focus on that. Focus on care. And then, you know, on a much more mundane level, we have Mercury opposed Saturn, traffic, delays, technology breaking, things not working. Keep your water away from your devices, like, because Saturn is in Pisces. Like, we can have some technology things, back up your computers before Wednesday, that type of stuff. But just in general, like, this feels very brash. This feels like fighting words. This feels like unstoppable force, immovable object. So when you don't see outer peace, find inner peace. Cultivate it as best you can. Then we move over into Thursday, and Mercury too moves over into Libra. That happens just after 4 a.m. Then we get the opposition to Neptune at the beginning of Aries, and a trine to Uranus, and the moon just after 11 p.m. in Leo will trine Chiron. So Thursday is kind of like, what are we concluding with this cycle? And what I think is really interesting about this world card is it really emphasizes the lobster, which, depending on who you ask, could be Cancer or it could be Scorpio. But either way, we have that watery vibe, and it's like the emotions kind of taking over in this cycle and really emphasizing the moon, which feels like an emphasis on those lunar nodes again. So what I want you to pay attention to on Thursday is, what are you challenging in your relationships, and where do you think you're maybe lacking some clarity? With that opposition with Neptune, that can also be a confrontation with some of those beliefs and ideas we've had about independence, and be like, oh, actually, we do need to work with this group or with these people or with this person that I didn't really want to work with. I'm not going to linger there because we have a lot to get through. And with Friday, Libra Mercury is going to trine Pluto. The moon is going to talk to Mars and conjunct Venus at the very, very end of Leo. And then they're going to walk together before 7 a.m. into Virgo and hit, like, one after the other, basically within the same degree, hit Regulus, which is now at the beginning of Virgo. This calls back to the new moon in like the Virgo new moon that happened on the 23rd of August. So I want you to think back when we hit Friday to what was going on then, what seeds were planted, because this is kind of a checkpoint. This is a little bit of a fertility point with that. And, you know, Venus isn't thrilled to be in Virgo. She's traditionally considered to be in fall. There can be some overcorrective issues there, but it can also be helpful, and I do like having a benefic present for the eclipse. And with that, we have the Hierophant, and this is a particularly like Eros and Aphrodite anointing a king. So I'm very curious, especially because Regulus has an association with kingship, who's going to rise to this? If you have anything at the beginning of Virgo, where are you being asked to rise? What roles are you being asked to take on? And look around at the people this might apply to. We hit Saturday, and we have the Six of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune reversed. This feels very much like it's speaking to the Venus-Uranus square and the Sun-Saturn opposition, which is also a signature in the eclipse. There's some grief and there's some incomplete cycles here. But with that eclipse, we are in the Ace of Wands. We are in the final spark before the equinox. And I think I'm just going to have to do another video on the eclipse because we are out of time. Let me know what you think.